Let's see.
Okay, it's recording now.
So please continue the class. Let me ask them to rejoin.
Okay, that's fine. I think some of them have tried joining again.
Mhm. So since you are, it is an
It's
open
an open
this thing.
class. Yeah.
So they should be able to join. Please continue. You can start the question all
Okay.
over. At least you have at least up to 2 hours more than to cover. So let's continue.
Yes, I have more than 2 hours.
And it's not enough. Yeah, so
All
I've
right.
said that you can always do a makeup class, maybe two on Sunday or anytime to make it fine. I think there's a swap
Mm,
between yourself and SFM lecturer. Right?
yes,
So
so
let
I'm
us.
having my class. I told them at the onset that I'm having my class on Sunday 8 p.m. But then on
Mhm.
Saturday, I'm supposed to have them 7. I'm supposed to have them 8 o'clock. But I think we will agree together to start the class for 7.
Okay, it's fine. It's better. We will still
Yeah.
adjust it back to 7 so that you can have more time because the questions are many. Before you do the
Yes.
reading, before you accommodate questions, and before you do the solving, it will be fine. So let's
Yes.
continue.
Yes.
Sorry
Okay,
about
that's
that.
fine.
Let's just continue.
But I think the network has been stable for a while, right?
Yeah, it's better now. Just continue.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah, since I think you muted everyone, so it's only maybe two
Yes,
or
I'm.
three percent.
Yes, I muted. I only favor can speak, I think.
Yeah, make one other person in case maybe
Okay,
network uh, did not.
I'm getting yes, we can. Yes, we can. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, good.
Okay, all right. And please confirm also that you can see my screen. Just say you can see my screen so I can just move on very fast. Okay, okay, good. So that's fine. Sorry for that break in transmission. So you start from loss for the year, and I typically would start from the beginning of the question to pick my disallowable expenses, right? Don't forget the idea here. The idea here is that you start from your net profit, you add back your disallowable expenses and deduct your non-taxable income. So what we were trying to do before the network issue was we were trying to identify what were the disallowable expenses that we have in this question. But no problem, we'll start again. So let's start from the body of the question. So we have salaries and wages. You will agree that your salaries and wages is only reasonable and exclusive enough for the business. In fact, I'm not sure you can do anything without paying salaries and wages. So for that reason, it's allowed. Rent and rate is also allowed. Your rent and rate is allowed. Then electricity and lighting is allowed. Electricity and lighting is allowed. Are you with me? Then your transport and traveling is allowed. Transport and traveling is allowed. But don't forget that all of these things are subject to additional information. And additional information can come up now that will negate whatever addition is. So that's why what we are going to do is that for the sake of the face of the question, we will allow electricity and lighting, transport and traveling. Stamp duties for increase in share capital. Now, your stamp duty is disallowed. Be- Your stamp duty is disallowed based on the provisions of Company Income Tax Act, right? So add disallowable expenses. So you have stamp duties for increase in share capital. You have 1.5, right? Auditor's remuneration is allowed. Auditor's remuneration is allowed, right? Your legal fee or legal and professional fees is allowed. Your legal and professional fees is allowed. But then we still have to check for the additional information. Repairs and maintenance is allowed, but we still have to check the additional information. Allowance for doubtful debt, we have to check the breakdown for it to be able to decide whether it is allowed or disallowed. Then depreciation, at least the Oga Pata Pata is a free one, bonus mark for everybody. The bonus mark, right? Depreciation is 35,600. Right? Then interest on loan is allowed. Interest on loan is allowed, but the law provides that it must not exceed 30% of your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. But that's not the context for this class anyway. For this question, I mean. Then your administrative expenses is allowed. Donation and subscription is also allowed, depending on what we have in the additional information. Then on disposal. Loss on disposal is disallowed. Loss on disposal of foreign equity. How much is that? 1,750. Please, can you still hear me? And can you see my screen? Okay, good. So that said, let's go to the additional information and then select from there. So your miscellaneous income, we said that your excess on evaluation of investment is non-taxable. Your excess on revaluation of investment is non-taxable. Your dividend received is franked investment income, and therefore it is non-taxable. Other income, we don't have the breakdown for it, and therefore it is taxable because we don't have a breakdown to tell us what is the content, right? Then it is going to be taxable. Then we have legal and professional fees. Debt collection expenses is allowable. Of course, when you have receivables, you have to collect your debt. You have to collect or put in mechanisms to receive to get your receivables, and that is reasonable enough for the business. Then tax consultant professional fee is allowed. Renewal of short lease is allowed. Long lease is your finance lease, and your finance lease is more or less like an because you are taking up the useful life of the asset, quote and unquote, and because the lease arrangement is not cancelable, so it is disallowed. But for short lease, it is allowed. Retainer fee is allowed. Let's go to repairs and maintenance. Improvement to industrial building. Improvement to industrial building is capital in nature because it's going to increase the quality of the asset, right? It's going to increase the quality of the industrial building. So therefore, it is disallowed because it is capital in nature. So we have 700, right? Repairs of industrial plants. Repairs is allowed. Renewal of tools and implements is allowed, right? Construction of companies building gates is capital in nature. Is capital in nature, so therefore it is disallowed because anything that is capital in nature, that means it's a statement of financial position item, should be disallowed. Then you have allowance for doubtful debt. General provision is disallowed. Specific provision is allowed. Then specific provision, like I said, is allowed, right? Then bad debt written off is allowed. Then bad debt recovered is an income. And of course, since the write-off is allowed, the income side of things should be taxable. It's reasonable that way. Then your interest on loan is only corroborating the fact that your interest on loan was gotten at arm's length, right? And also further solidifying that it is allowable. Then your general and administrative expenses were made up of vehicle running expenses is allowed, insurance premium is allowed, but your fine, anything fine is avoidable, really. Is avoidable. It's you that know why you went to go and commit the offense, right? So we shouldn't be bearing the brunt for you. And for that reason, it is disallowed. Then other administrative expenses, we don't know what is the component. We don't know what the component is, so therefore it is allowed. Now, donations. Now, on the face of it, your donations and subscription, your subscription is allowed, right? Provided it is related to your trade, to your trading activity. And when the examiner is silent, we can as well assume that your subscription is only for trading activity. But then there are conditions for allowing donations. The first one is that it must be made to the approved bodies. The second is it must be made to a fund approved by the government for the purpose of natural disaster, war, or crisis, but must not exceed 10% of your accessible profit. That's the law there, that it must not exceed 10% of your accessible profit, right? And number three is it must not be capital in nature. So now, if in this case we were told that it is made to a fund, and now this guy is making loss, so it begs the question: if you are making loss, and we are saying that it should not be more than 10% of the accessible profit, I can as well disallow it and then determine what is the 10% of the accessible profit. So I will say donations and then disallow it. I'm giving this, I'm trying to make this clearer, because if I'm solving subsequent questions and I'm just trying to ignore it, you will know the reason behind ignoring it. The reason why I'm selecting this one at this time is because they made laws, and the law provides that it must not exceed 10% of accessible profit. So this is begging a question that if you're making laws and you're making donation, I still have to find out what the accessible profit is going to look like, right? So please help me add up the figure and give me the number in the comment. Or is Favor still around?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please, you have to do a lot of work this night. So help me add up the figure and give it to me now.
Okay. Mm. So please speak from the chat box. Please, I'm coming.
Okay. Did I miss out on any information? What do you say is the figure? 7320. Okay. Then less non-taxable income. So what are non-taxable income? We've identified them. So we just have to pick them one after the other. So excess on revaluation of investment. We have 770, and then we have dividend received. And I'm sure everybody on this call knows why we are picking them as non-taxable. So what's the addition of for the non-taxable income? Please help me with the figure. Please help me with the figure. Please help me with the figure. 4320. Okay, so of course, your revaluation investment is capital in nature. Number two, your revaluation is nominal in that it doesn't involve money movement. What you are trying to say is that you are increasing the value of asset based on the current market price. So for that reason, the tax is seeing that it's not reasonable enough. And number two, doesn't involve movement of cash. That is non-taxable. And for dividend, your dividend is franked investment income, in that your withholding excluding depreciation, excluding donations, beg your pardon. So what do you have? No, I mean 4230. Okay, thank you. So okay, thank you. So for the total now, what do you have? Accessible profit excluding donation, or let me just call it profit because it's not accessible really. Let me just call it profit excluding donation to be safe. 595609. Do you all agree with that figure? 5950,560. So let's, are you me? Allowable donation. Don't forget that we said your donation must not exceed 10%, right, of the accessible profit. But the donation is also still inclusive in determining the accessible profit itself. So for that reason, you will say 10 over 110 because donation is inclusive, right? 10 times 59,560. So what do you have? 5415.
5414. Yes, right. Four.
5414.54. Is
Five
that what you
four.
said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So yeah, so let's have our accessible profit now. What do you have? Accessible profit, please help me. That's your profit excluding donation minus donation itself. What do you have? 54145. 54145. Is there any point there? Yeah. 0.45. Okay. Is this correct? 54144.45. Is that correct? Okay. So that's the accessible profit, right? So let's loss relief. So let me entertain, after doing this loss relief, I will entertain your question. So please, if you want to ask question, please try to raise your hand now. Please do that now because I only pick those that have raised their hand prior to me pulling. So after this, I will accommodate your questions. Right, your loss relief. So how much is the loss relief now? Do you have anything like loss relief in this question? Yeah, I saw something like that. So unabsorbed losses for previous years. So you add the four of them together because you remember your loss relief. If for loss now, your loss, you relieve your loss before capital allowances. You relieve your loss before capital allowance. So what do you have? If you add the four together, what do you have? That's the four losses in the prior year. Just raise your hand. I may not be able to pick your questions from the comment section. Just raise your hand so that at the end of the day, I'm just able to ask you once and for all. So I can see 36070. 36070. So what then do you have as the figure you have? The 54145.5 minus What do you have? That's 54145.45 minus 36070. What do you have, please? 18075.45. All right. So, Juliet, please, if I don't call your name, please don't speak. I beg you. So, Juliet. Okay, Juliet is not here. Leonard. Okay, Leonard is not here.
No,
Samson.
I'm here. Thank you very
Okay,
much. I've been
go ahead.
waiting.
What's your question? Please go ahead.
I don't know. For instance, if liable expenses, all right, maybe mistakenly or out of oversight, will it affect your score?
Yes, it will. If you miss one, not to scare you anyway, but if you miss one, you are likely going to miss about
Will it?
6 to 7 marks. So
Wow.
what I said is that if you miss, you are likely going to miss 6 to 7 marks, and this is because your set profit will be wrong, total profit will be wrong, your common income tax will be wrong, your tertiary education tax will be wrong, your total tax liability is going to be wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
So and those all of them attract more mark, and from what I know, the last three things I mentioned attract more mark compared to even the line items you are mentioning.
Exactly. That is, God help us.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, Samson. Samson. So Samson is not here.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Thank you very much. My concern will be taken care of, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So in that case, if somebody else has asked your question, you can just put down your hand before I get to you so that you don't have to accommodate that again. All right, Aki today. Samson, please put down your hand to aid us move faster. So Aki today, please, you are not there. So Afolabi Lydia. Okay, she's not also
Can you hear
here.
me? Can you hear me? I'm there. Can you hear me?
Aki today, okay, go ahead.
Please, I am seeing the question on the screen. I'm not seeing solution. Are you not presenting solution?
No, I'm presenting solution alongside the question. So what you do is this. I would imagine that you are using a phone. So try to scroll to your side now. You have it at your left hand. I mean at your right hand. Just scroll to the right. You will see the solution there already. You'll try to manage your screen to ensure that your full screen is showing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So Victor, please put down your hands if somebody else has asked your question or I've answered you already. Yeah, please put down your hand. Victor.
Okay. Can you go back to the solution so that I will be able to tell you the area?
Honestly, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better now.
Yeah. So I said, can you display the solution so that I can point out the area of my challenge? So
Yeah.
where you have profit excluding donation down, I don't know if you can throw more light on it, specifically where you have 10 over 110 times 559 560. So because from less allowable donation, or rather profit
Honestly,
excluding.
I'm struggling again to hear you. Can you please speak up a little bit more?
Yes, I said From profit excluding donation, can you explain it downwards, please?
Okay. So, but do you understand profit excluding donation?
No.
You don't you don't understand how I even got the profit excluding donation.
I got that profit excluding donation. No, I don't. I don't.
Okay, so to save time, it is actually supposed to be profit plus allowable expenses less disallowable, excluding non-taxable income. What I'm saying is your profit add disallowable expenses less non-taxable income. That's how I got this figure. But ideally, donation is allowed, right? Donation is allowed. So in getting this 59,560, I should have considered donation. Emphasis on I should have considered donation. But the law provides that any donation I want to consider must not exceed, provided it is a donation to a fund established by the government, must not exceed 10%. Right. But don't forget that this 59,560 is including donation already. So if it is including, it means your denominator must include the 10% donation. That is the benchmark. That's how I got my 10 over 110. That's 10 over 100 plus the 10 numerator. That's how I got the 10 over 110 times this figure. That's the profit excluding donation. And that's how I'm able to get the maximum allowable donation for this entity. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Have I answered your question, Victor?
Yes, you have.
Okay. Yeah. So, Ukeme,
Hello, good evening, sir.
yeah, good evening, ma.
Okay, please. It's the same question Victor asked, but from the explanation, I just want to understand for myself. When I added the disallowable expenses, I added donation. Like donation was included, right? But
Yeah.
like from the description, it said profit excluding donation. Is it not meant to be profit including donation? Because what I understand is that I should add all these things
Perfect.
and not put donation.
Okay. So, okay, you have issues with this word I'm using, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, profit is
Because initially I
allowable
added it and I
donation.
did not put donation, but I didn't get the
Okay, so
amount
the
other
reason
people
I
got.
added it in the first place, are you with me?
Okay.
The reason I added it in the first place here was because they made loss and at the same time made donation of 12 million. When in reality, the government asked them that the donation must not be more than 10%. So the idea of adding it back is that you want to at least increase this profit. That's why I said it is excluding it. Does it make sense?
Okay.
That's why I use the narration excluding. But I think I've made it a little bit clear by saying allowable donation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Oluwatoyin, I'm not sure she's here.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So mine is the issue of the screen. I don't know. I've just been following through and I've been getting it, but I can't see anything. He told me Apex is presenting and notating, and that's just all I can see. I'm joining with my phone, sir.
I think it's your network, to be honest. So just try to log out and log in again.
I did that like twice, and it's still the same thing.
It's still your network, to be honest.
Okay.
Just try
Then
to.
my
I
my
think I had
second
similar
question is
issue.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm with
I want
okay.
to see
So
story
my
in the
second question is the donations. Sorry to just drag you back. So I want to be sure that I got what you said, that it must not be more than 10% of the accessible profits. So in doing that, we need to do 10 out
correct.
10 over 110 times the accessible profit and then add it back. Is that it?
Then deduct it. Deduct it. You know, the ideal thing is you deduct your allowable expenses, add
Yes,
disallowable, deduct allowable.
yes. To
Yeah.
deduct it.
If that's what you are saying, then it's correct.
So I'm doing 10 over 110 times my accessible profit. Whatever figure is it, I will not deduct it from my
No, it's not.
what's it
So,
called?
so it's not safe, right? It's not safe to call this your figure. That's the 59,560 accessible profit. It's not safe to call it accessible profit.
Okay.
Just look for a name to call it, but I'm not comfortable calling it accessible profit because it is not
Okay.
accessible until all your allowable expenses and disallowable expenses have been taken care of. So it's sounding somehow
Yes.
to my ears. Um, I just want to bring it to context that it's not accessible profit. But you can call it any other name apart from accessible profit anyway.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right.
So, but regarding the screen, please, what do you
You're
suggest I
welcome.
do just to change the network?
Yes, change the network. So switch from Etisalat to 9 Mobile.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Uh, how do I pronounce this name now? Pemelogu.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, mine
If I've
is
asked your
first of
question,
all,
if I've asked your question, please put down your hand.
yeah, mine is about this point. Where is the point coming from? Like, I'm not
Are you with your
getting.
calculator?
I'm with my calculator, and I've been giving you figures, so if you noticed. But all my figures, there's no points. There's even in the
Possibly your.
question.
Are you using your phone?
I'm using calculator.
I would imagine that your calculation is not scientific.
It is. Please, you look at it from the question. Even from the question, is there anything like points? So why will we be getting points in our
Okay.
answers?
Let me. It's just like I like the way. Let me just clear your doubt here. So let's do what they did. So 10 divided by 110. You can still see my screen, Abby. Times 59,560. It's there's points now,
10
right?
over 1, 10 over 110 times 59560 will give it gave me 54. Sorry, what did it give you? Because I'm not even seeing the screen. But it gave me
5414.54.
5414 points. Okay, then please, the prof, you told the other woman that you're not comfortable with as her calling this profit before allowing donation accessible. Can it be called adjusted profit before allowing donation?
It's still not, I'm still not comfortable calling it adjusted profit because the accessible profit is the same with accessible profit. Adjusted profit is same with accessible profit.
Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the same.
So thank you.
All right. All right.
My
Unfortunately, I will
phone.
not be able to move on with questions now. So let me continue solving. Right? Yeah. So just keep your hand up. I'm sure your hand will not pain you. Right? Just keep it up so that once I'm going to entertain the next set of questions, I will call you next. If I've answered you already, please put down your hand. All right. So let's move on. So that I just want to make sure that at least you have value for your time. So less capital allowance. And this capital allowances is where you will need to follow me very closely. If you I taught you capital allowance, right? And we said capital allowance is an allowance granted to a taxpayer for putting a qualifying capital expenditure to use in a particular year of assessment. So computation of capital allowances for 2022 year of assessment. So we have, what are the list of assets that we have? We have industrial building. We have manufacturing industrial plant. Please stay with me at this time. It's a very dangerous time to sleep, especially if we are attempting this for the first time. Motor vehicle. Right. I have furniture. And things. I have my total. So I have my initial allowance, annual allowance. Don't worry about this rate. It's provided to you in the exam. All right.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Please, can you increase the font for your question?
I believe it's manageable now.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So we have the tax system value. Now, I will advise you to be very careful at this point with the choice of words of the examiner. Because the choice of word of the examiner matters in what you are doing. Now, you will notice what he did here. He's saying year of acquisition, number of items, and then the amount. From my GS1 mathematics, I know that amount is always price times quantity. Is that correct? So what this is suggesting to me is that, are you with me? That amount I'm seeing there is the total for all the assets. The total for all the assets. So I don't need to multiply that figure by the number of items again. That is very important. You don't need to multiply. But if what I had here is cost, cost to me would mean per unit cost, right? So I can multiply by number of items to get the amount. But if I are given the amount already, you don't need to multiply by any asset, right? So in this case, you have 84,000, you have 28,000, you have your 14,000, you have 2,700, right? Then we have additional assets. We have additional motor vehicle, right? Purchased for 4,500. Additional furniture and fittings purchased for 1,200. The same rule still applies here. The amount suggests to me that it is cost times quantity that gave them the amount. So I need not multiply it again. Now, let me say this. If the basis for disallowing any expenditure is because it is capital in nature, I repeat that again. If the basis for disallowing any expenditure is because it is capital in nature, please, you have to claim capital allowance on such assets, right? And remember, I disallowed improvement to industrial building on the ground that it is capital in nature. So I will say 700. Are you with me? Now, the company's building gate is also part of building. So I can call that non-industrial building. I remember I also disallowed it because it is capital in nature. That was the basis for disallowing it, right? And if that was the basis for disallowing it, then I would have to come and also show it here that I am disallowing it. Right. Do you all get it to this extent? Okay. So now, if that's said, remember that initial allowance is just only once in the lifetime of the asset, and is in the first year the asset is put to use. Is in the first year the asset is put to use, and it's at the rate prescribed by the tax authority. So what's 50% times 700? What do you have?
105.
105. 15% times 900, what do you have?
135.
135, okay. 50% of 45 will give you what? 250, Abby.
Yes, 250.
25% 300, Abby. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm
So
coming.
give me the total. What's the total, Abby? What's the total?
2790. 2790.
Attention, incorrect. Annual allowance. So actually, you have two ways around this. So let me just show you the easy but the long way, and it's the best way actually, is to say annual allowance of the old asset. Now, to achieve that, the examiner will automatically tell you the remaining useful life of the asset. So so what I'm saying here is that the examiner will automatically tell you the year. So an allowance of the old asset, right? Now, I was saying that the examiner automatically will tell you the remaining useful life of the asset. You can be lucky that it gives you the number of years that it has utilized, right? But in this case, it told us the year of acquisition, right? Now, by telling us the year of acquisition, what he has done here is to tell us that if your asset is acquired in 2016 and capital allowance is claimed on a preceding year basis, so it means your first year will be 2017. So count from 2017 to 2021. So how many years has he utilized that way? So you have 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The asset has used 5 years, right? So what is the remaining useful life? The remaining useful life is 5 years. So 84,000 divided by 5, what do you have?
No. 16,800.
10,000.
No, 16,800. 84,000 divided by 5.
Yeah.
16,800. 16. 7 and 6. Yeah.
Right, 16,800. So for this guy, okay, we don't have. So let me go straight to manufacturing industrial plant. The manufacturing industrial plant was purchased in 2018. So same process, really. Same process. So I would say 19, 20, 21. It has used how many years? 3 years. So I would imagine that my 28,000 is the final year of the asset. But the law provides that I should still keep 10 era as the tax value of the asset in the final year. So 28 million minus 10 era will give me 27. $999 990, Abby. Right. So the same process I will do for, no, this is 2 assets, so I will do 980, 10 naira times 2.98. Right. The same thing I will do for motor vehicle. It was purchased in 2019, so I'll start counting from 2020, 2021. It has used 2 years, so it has 2 years remaining. So 14,000 divided by 2 will give me what? 7,000. Right. And then let me do for furniture and fitting. So it's also purchased in 2019, so 2020, 2021. So I have 3 years remaining. So 27 divided by 3, what do you have? 900, I think. I'm not sure of this figure.
900.
Is it 900?
900.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now please help me with the total figure.
Okay, sir, please, I want to ask this 28,000. Do we minus 10 from it?
So you minus
From
20
manufacturing.
because it's 10 minus 10 times 2.
Okay.
10 naira for an asset, right? So 10
Mm.
times 2 makes 20 naira. So 28 million minus 20 naira.
Okay, million. All right.
So what do you have?
$52,699.98.
Then I have annual allowance of the new asset. So that one is pretty much straightforward. It is the addition minus the initial allowance times the annual allowance rate. So by implication, what I'm saying is 700 minus 105 times 10%. What do you have?
Okay. 59.5.
So do 900 minus 135 times 10%. What do you have?
76.5.
All right. I don't have for this, but I have new asset here. So do 45 minus 2,050 times 25%. What do you have?
Two two five.
I beg to differ.
Wait, you said 45 minus 2250 times 10%, right?
No, minus no times 25% now. This is the annual allowance rate.
Okay, that is 562.5. 562.5.
Then 1,2 minus 900 times 20%. What do you have?
60.
60. Total now. Please give me the figure.
So please, can you shift your screen so I can see the last thing? For industrial, okay. 59.5. Okay, 758.5.
758. Because it is an exam condition, right? I will ignore the 39 value because this is the figure I need. All right. So what's the total allowances?
Five six two four 8.48.
So now I will entertain just 4 questions at this point. 2 questions at this point. Babalola, so that's 1, 2 minus 300 times 1, 2. Your figure here is wrong, oh.
Yeah, I just noticed. 180.
So I think it will affect your total figure.
Mm.
All right.
Okay, the total figure is 878.5.
Please be careful with your numbers. Everybody, please be
Yes,
careful with
sir.
your numbers. It is very, very important. Please, I beg you. Please help me. What's the total figure?
Five six three six 8.48. Okay.
All right. So Balola is not available. Tawa Abdul. Okay, I'm not sure she's available also. Ola Shade. Ola Shade.
Yes,
Okay.
good evening. Thank you. Yes, sorry, I might need to take us back. The donation, I'm trying to understand why we have to put 10 all over 1 over 10. I'm trying to understand. It's not just 10% time the supposed accessible profits.
I've answered before, but I'll answer again. This figure here,
Sorry, I didn't get.
no problem, no problem. This figure here includes your donation already, right? So it's not safe to say it is accessible profit. The law provides that it's 10% of accessible profit. The 59,560 is including donation, and therefore you cannot call that accessible profit. Right. So that's why we are saying 100, because this 59,560 is donation inclusive. Then we are saying 10 over 110 to show that that 59,560 is inclusive of the donation. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Tawa,
Sorry, my question.
please, if I
Called my
don't call
name.
you, I will not.
You called my name. I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah, you
Babalola.
called my name, but at that time, you've not unmuted the mic.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Please go
All
ahead.
right. So please, regarding this question, where are you getting it from? Is it a past question? So we can all be on the same page.
It's past question, but you could have. It's past question.
What year, please?
May 2022 question 1.
All right, thank you. Well, the rest they've been asked, so I'm fine with it.
All right. Tawa Abdul. Okay. Moses.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Okay, sir, sorry. My question is from what we have calculated after our donation, we now have adjusted profit slash accessible profit. So my question is, in some cases, you'll be asked to calculate the adjusted profit and as well as accessible profit. So what do we do? Because from what we've done, it means accessible profit is something, adjusted profit is something as accessible profit. So where the examiner is asking us to calculate adjusted profits and adjusted accessible profits,
You only have,
what do we do?
I'm sure you only have that instance in oil and gas taxation. And I will, when we get to oil and gas, I will address it fully. But you can only have the examiner asking you for accessible profit and adjusted profit differently for oil and gas taxation. And the difference for oil and gas is basically the loss relief. So before loss relief, you typically call that adjusted, after you call it accessible. But that's specifically for these guys, for oil and gas. But when we get there, we'll solve it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah, Adepoju.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for a wonderful lecture. Please, I'm not taking us back, but I just want to ask, from this determination of the company tax liability, how do we get this 70,320, sir?
Is the addition of the disallowable expenses.
But I'm not getting it, so I don't know.
So just add these highlighted parts together. I believe you will get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was getting 63,730.
Just do it again. Possibly you deducted 6530 already. That could be the reason.
65. Okay.
Let's try it again.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Is that a question?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So while you do that, let me attend to other questions.
All
Right.
sir.
Gift.
Thank you very much. I have two questions, please. The first one is that the question for construction, why are we taking it as non-industrial and not industrial? Just a concern.
Actually, it's of no material effect because they carry the same rate. But it is not industrial because it cannot be traceable to production.
Okay.
Does it make sense to you?
Yes, it does now.
Yeah, that's it. It's the same rate, but it's not traceable. I mean, your gates, you don't produce with your gates, unlike your factory itself. That's why it is called non-industrial, just for classification. But I mean, the rate is the same, so it's not of a material effect. In fact, I will advise you in the exam, to be safe, you can even add everything together and just treat it as industrial building. The examiner should overlook that.
Hello.
Oh, your second question, gift. All right, your hand is down already, so I think I can move on. Jinika. Jinika. Okay. Tabakali too.
Hello, sir.
Tawakali. Yeah.
Sorry, good evening.
So,
Can you hear me?
Who is speaking, please?
It's Ginika. Sorry.
Okay, Jinika, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, please. I want to know that's for the industrial building when we divided it by 5 years for us to get the annual allowance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 84,000. Then for the manufacturing industrial plants, where we minus 10 naira, oh yeah, 20 naira because it's two. Why did we not
Yes.
divide it by the number of years?
So the reason is this: how many years is your plant supposed to use? You're supposed to use 4 years, right? And you
Yes.
purchased it in 2018,
2018.
right?
Yes.
So count 19, 20, 21. How many years is that?
That's 3 years.
3 minus 4 will give you what?
Sir?
3 minus 4 will give you what?
3 minus 4.
Or 4 minus 3 will give you what?
1.
So anything divided by 1 will give you what? The same answer.
Same answer, yes.
Yeah, that's why we didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So let me move on. Let me just move on. Sorry, I will accommodate your question in the next question round. Yeah. All right. So having said that, so we move on. Then we have unrelieved capital allowance, 15,200. So what's the total capital allowance here? Sorry, what's the total capital allowance? So you
71.
71.
71,568.48.
Then utilized capital allowance. So let me just use the word restricted to remember that capital allowance is restricted to the total available profit, right? Apart from for manufacturing and agro-allied, right? And if you check what is the nature of business of this guy, they told us that is a manufacturer, meaning that capital allowance cannot be restricted for this guy. So he can take the whole of his profit as capital allowance. Does it make sense? 075.45.
Please say that again, sir.
All right. So on relieved capital allowances carried down. So how much is that?
Okay, 53493.03.
53493.03.
493.03.
Then you have your total profit. How much is total profit? Nilabi.
Sir.
So CIT at 30% of total profit. What do you have? Nilabi.
Sir.
TET. We are dealing with 2022 year of assessment, Abi. So that's at 2.5% of accessible profit. What do you have? Yeah.
One
What do you have?
1337. Wait, 1337.32. We are doing it times 53493, right?
No, five. You are doing it times 54145.45.
Oh,
This
sorry.
is this. These are still profits.
Okay, so 1353.63.
One.
1353.63.
Right. So you have total tax liability. What do I have? 1353.63. But you have to be careful of one thing here. Always compute your minimum tax when you have the information to do that. Minimum tax computation. Right? Remember that minimum tax is 0.5% of your accessible of turnover less franked investment income. Right? 0.5% of turnover less franked investment income. Now, for me to compute my turnover less franked investment income, I would say that what's my gross revenue from this question? My turnover. How much do I have? I have 382, right?
Yes, sir. Please,
500
can you increase the font?
of the question, right?
Yes, of the question. Yeah.
All
It's
right,
perfect.
382,500 is the turnover, right? Then miscellaneous income. The miscellaneous income is how much? 11,060, Abi.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, you add 11,060. So what do you have when you add the two?
393560.
93,560.
560.
Then you now less non-taxable income. Was there any income we declared as non-taxable? I remember the breakdown. We have excess on revaluation of investment, Abi. Excess on revaluation. How much is that? 770. Also, I have my franked investment income, which is your dividend. How much is that? 3460. In that case, what do you have? As your what do you have?
389330. 389330.
So minimum tax. At 0.5% of the earth.
That is 1946.65.
946. So this minimum tax, you compare it with your company income tax, right? Obviously, your company income tax is 0. So in this case, you expect to select the higher of the two, right? So if you are selecting the total of the two, so you say total tax payable. I will still explain minimum tax to you in full the next couple of minutes, but let's still do this. All right, so you say tax payable. Minimum tax. But what did you do? Are you sure this figure is correct? Hope you didn't do 0.5 times 389. Okay, I think it should be correct. I'm also
I did
thinking,
0.5 times 389, 330.
no, it's 0.5 over 100.
Yeah. The percentage was added.
You incorporated the percentage, Abby?
Yeah, I included it.
Okay. I trust you. Three, five, three, 6, 3. What do you have? 3.
3300.28.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let me accommodate all your discussions here. Yeah, Shiki Taiwo. Shitu Taiwo. Okay. Rita Kuto. Sawa Abdul. It was reviewed from 0.25. Reviewed from. It was 0.25, then reviewed to 0.5%. So it was 0.25, but now 0.5%. All right, Judith. Judith.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, I got your answer now, sir. I thought it was. Okay, sir.
Okay. Ukeme.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to take us back, but someone asked the question, but he still didn't really answer it for me. That's annual allowance under manufacturing industrial plants. The after 4 minus 3 is 1 year. So aren't you meant to have done 28,000 divided by 1 to give 28,000? I don't understand how you got this 27,999.
So the law provides that in the final year of the asset, you should keep 10 naira as the tax value, pending the time that the asset is disposed. So is that 10 naira we're trying to keep, right? But this case, it is two
Sorry, sir.
assets, so you do 10 times 2. And that gives
My
you
computer
22
is
naira.
disturbing.
Your background is noisy anyway.
It's not mine, it's someone else.
Kelly, unmute now. I mean, mute your mic. You see,
We
give
hope to
them.
remove this
If people
person,
want
but
it like this, they will know.
remove them. Remove them.
All right. So for Shade, okay, may have I answered the question?
I didn't hear. It was
So I
noisy at the
said
time.
that the law provides that you should keep 10 naira as the tax value of the asset, pending the time that the asset is disposed.
Okay, so you subtracted 10 naira from 28,000. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. But in this case, there are two assets. So 10 naira times 2 will give you 20 naira. So 20 naira minus 28 million was what gave us that long figure.
It's not meant to be in decimal.
It's going to be in decimal because it's not 20,000 you are deducting, it's 20 naira. And your 28 is 28 million. Does it make sense?
Okay.
So the
doing
law
it on
provides
my
10 naira. Not so don't make that mistake. It is not 10,000. It's 10 naira. So what I'm saying invariably is this to make it simple, what you are supposed to do is 28 million, because all figures are denoted in thousand, right? Minus 20 naira. So you have 27,999,980 naira. So to
okay,
bring
you're
it back
not
to thousand.
okay.
Exactly.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Shitu Taiwo.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so from that, the same question the lady asked, because while I was serving along with you, when you got your annual allowance, it was the tax written down value divided by number of years. That was what we used in getting 16.8 for the first one.
Yeah.
So for the manufacturing industrial plant, I tried the same thing, but it was not giving me the answer. But now you said it was 28 million minus 20. How do we come about that first? And the motor vehicle also, it was 14,000 divided by the 2 years. That's 2019, 2020, 2021. I tried it for furniture and fittings, so it was not giving me the same answer. So I
How
don't
many
know.
years? So the question you would ask is, let me start from the last one. How many years is furniture and fitting supposed to use?
It's supposed to use, this is from 2019. It's supposed to be like remaining 2 years, right?
No, how many years is it supposed to use? Don't ignore when it was purchased. Ideally, how many years is the asset supposed to use?
5
Based
years.
5 years, right? So the next question I want to ask is, how many years has it used?
2.
So how many years is remaining?
3.
So 2,700 divided by 3 will give you what?
Okay, 900. Wow.
So does that clarify?
Yes.
So the step to getting it is, ask yourself, how many years is it supposed to use? How many years has it used? Then you deduct.
Okay.
You understand? That way, I think that
Yeah.
will give you a broader perspective to it.
Okay, thank you. So the
You're
second
welcome.
one.
Does it answer? It should answer your first one actually. But let me answer it again. So how many years is your
Okay.
plant supposed to use?
That's 4 years.
How many years has it used?
19, 20, 21. 3 years.
So now 28 million divided by 1 will give you what?
It's going to, it's like, it's 28 million naira.
Good. The law now provides that you keep 10 naira as the tax value. That's just constant. 10 naira as the tax value of the asset. Right? But in this case, there are two assets. So that's 10 times 2. That's 20 naira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. So
28
like for
million.
furniture and fitness now that we're having 10 items, if we're going to be keeping at the end of the year, it's going to be like whatever figure we are having times 10.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That's is it clear now?
Yes, very clear. Thank you, sir.
All right. I think I've answered everybody. Folashade.
Yes, sir.
So the reason, sorry, hold on a minute. So the reason we do not count the year it is used is that it's going to be assessed to tax on preceding year basis. It's going to be on preceding year basis, really. So it's because it's going to be on preceding year basis, that is why. So 2016 will begin in 2017, 2018 will begin in 2019, like that. So it's always on preceding year basis. Does it clarify? That's for, yeah. Don't worry, I will
Observation.
call you. Just keep your hand. Just put your hand up so that the class will not become rowdy. Just put your hand up. Don't interrupt, please. I'm begging. I will call you. Don't worry. All right. Folashade, once I'm done with you, please just put down your hand before we move on to the next phase. Okay, I think Folashade's query has been answered. Right. IB.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
sir.
good evening.
Please, sir, in exam circumstances, I don't still understand when we are to apply this minimum tax.
I didn't get you.
When in exam circumstances, when do we apply minimum tax? I don't know why you decide to just bring it in. I don't even know why it comes in.
Okay, you don't know why it comes in. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think you will get it if I explain minimum tax, right? So let me explain minimum tax in detail first, so that will help us. So minimum tax is like an option, right? A business can be assessed to tax using three methods. Use any of the three models, right? So it is that the normal one, that's the, or you can use the turnover assessment, which is more or less not in your level, at your level, or the dividend basis, or the minimum tax basis. But because this question is minimum tax, so let me just use minimum tax. Minimum tax is used in under two circumstances. The first is if the company makes loss in a year of assessment, right? The second is if the minimum tax is higher than the normal tax, right? If minimum tax is higher than normal tax. So every time we are expected to complete minimum tax, right? However, there are three companies that are exempted from minimum tax, and you have to be careful of those three companies. The first is companies that are in the first 3 years, in first 4 years of commencement. Companies in the first 4 years of commencement. The second is the companies that are whose turnovers are less than 25 million. Company that has less than 25 million revenue. The third one is companies in the agro-allied industry. Those are the three companies that are exempted from minimum tax. But to answer your question more in a specific term, we came about minimum tax because we have the thing that we need to complete minimum tax, which is your turnover composition. So anytime in your exam where you have turnover, please complete minimum tax, except the company is exempted. And by exemption, I mean falls under the three categories I mentioned earlier. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, Bo. Abedu. Okay.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So, in the case of
If I've
tertiary
answered your
education
question, please
tax,
mute your. If I've answered your question, please put down your hands.
so in the case of tertiary education tax, what if what we have is accessible loss? We don't have profits. Do we still need to calculate the TET?
No, 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 no. You don't need to calculate. I mean, tax is always on profit, so you don't need to calculate it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So Christopher Atta. All right.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Good evening, sir. Thank you so far for the presentation. Please, I would just want you to run me through the capital allowance computation again. You don't need to do all, maybe just one or two
You want
of
me
the
to run
asset.
you through capital allowance computation, Abi?
Yes, please.
By running you through, how do you mean?
How we got from the initial, I saw the initial allowance and then the annual
So
allowance.
do
How
you
we
have
got the
a prior? I'm sorry, but do you have a prior understanding of capital allowance? So I don't have to, because of you, drag every other people backward.
not so.
Okay, so you may want to see me after the class. We made a video on we had a class on capital allowance. So I want to believe that if you had that prior knowledge, it would have been better for us. So to avoid dragging others back, please do me a favor, reach out to me. I will want to answer you or refer you to my video that can help you. So that would help us together. So I don't have to drag people back. Does it
All
make
right.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Benjamin Chuku.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the audience. Please, I have some questions. The first question is, sorry I had to drag us back, is about these industrial plants where we said the tax written down value has to be 20 naira. I've been trying to understand how the acquisition of the new one tallies with the old one that is supposed to, as in,
So
have one more year useful life. That makes us to say, okay, both of them, we are adding both of them to give us 20 naira as
no,
tax written down value. I really did not get that part. Then secondly,
no, hold
where
on.
we
Sir,
okay.
hold on, Benjamin, so that we don't have to. I won't have asked you to repeat your question again. I'm not sure I got your question because from what I'm seeing on my screen, there's no new manufacturing industrial plants. So
Okay,
there
so
were no
how did we
additional.
get the two? How did we get the two industrial plants that we said the tax written down value has to be 20?
So you will see in front of manufacturing industrial plants number of items too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That answer your first question, Abi.
Yeah. So the
So
second
next
question, I
one.
don't know if you could go back to the solution.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, please.
I'm on the solution already.
Okay, where we restricted this 18.075, I don't really understand the logic
Okay.
behind it.
So the logic there is you cannot give what you don't have. Does it make sense? So
Yeah.
ideally, all companies are restricted to two-thirds. All companies, apart from manufacturing and agro-allied. But even for manufacturing and agro-allied, you cannot give what you don't have. There's capital allowance of 71,568. You only have 18,075. Obviously, we cannot take more than the 18,075. So that's the logic behind it.
Okay. All right. So the last one is the minimum tax.
Yeah.
The formula there. You said it is 0.5% of gross
Turnover.
turnover. Tell me if I'm correct. Then less
Yeah.
frank investment income, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But the computation we did down, I saw us including some other few items again. I thought maybe we'll only restrict our calculation based on what the formula said. So I really don't know why. I
So
really would want to know why we
in the
included some other few
in
items.
the definition of turnover,
No, my shoes are there.
No, excuse me, the food.
You need my shoes, sir. No,
sorry about that. So in our definition of turnover, turnover means income from all sources for the entity. And the only one that is categorically excluded is the franked investment income and non-taxable income. So that turnover here does not necessarily mean it is only the turnover only. It means the income from all sources apart from the non-taxable income and the franked investment income. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, Favor, please put down your hand so that it will move faster. Favor. Okay, I think Favor is okay.
Sorry,
I
hello,
can
can you hear
hear
me?
you.
Yeah, so actually you just answered the question. I was going to ask on turnover, right? My understanding of turnover, I thought turnover means revenue, right? So I was wondering why you added the miscellaneous income, but now you just explained that turnover means income from all sources and not just from one stream.
All right, that's okay. So,
Thank you.
Olushola, welcome. Okay, Abigail.
Good evening. Good evening. Lushola is here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, my question is just a lot of consideration on how you calculate the minimum in minimum tax. The frank investment was added, but the formula said less. So I just want to get that.
Are you sure it was added?
Yes.
Check now. I deducted it, so I'm wondering how you got the addition.
It was added because the total of what we have is the turnover was 3,800.
Microphone. With microphone.
Question, but yeah. So it was added.
It was not added. I'm not sure I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not looking at the same thing. But what I'm seeing, I've not seen anything added.
But what we have is 389, and the turnover is 382. The turnover was 382.
Okay, it's okay. So so what you're asking is how come we don't use only 382,500? I've answered it
Yes.
before, and I will say it again. That your turnover simply means income from all sources, apart from your non-taxable income and franked investment income. So in very what we did here is 382,500, then plus the other income you have here. Other income 6,830. You will get the same 389,330. That's an alternative way of doing it. Because other income is taxable.
All right.
All right. So Abigail. Okay. Clement.
Hello, sir.
Okay, so hello.
Who is speaking?
Can I go on?
It's
You
me,
just
Vivo.
called me.
Yeah, Abigail, please speak up.
Yes. Still on the minimum tax, I'm still confused here because the turnover we have is 382. When you said that when the formula said that we should deduct the frank investments, we shouldn't add it to the turnover. We should have something like 3,756 and so on. So I'm still confused. In this question, we added the frank investment. Can you please share more light to me because I'm not understand.
Okay. So now to bring it to just you will likely answer your question yourself. If you don't, if something is not included, is it good for us to deduct it from it?
No.
So your turnover here is excluding franked investment income, right?
Yes.
So will it be fair for us to deduct dividend from that amount? No. So the reason the formula is like that is the formula is only saying in case dividend has been included in your gross turnover. And again, I will repeat my definition for gross turnover is income from all sources. So that definition has assumed that your frank investment income was already incorporated in your turnover. So in case it is already incorporated in your turnover, deduct it. If it is not incorporated in your turnover, ignore it. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
if it is not included, your turnover here does not include dividends. So why should we deduct dividend from what was not included originally? Does it make, do you get it now?
Yes, but this 6,830,000 it's not dividend, it's other income. Other
So
income.
again, the turnover is defined. I'll repeat the definition again. The turnover is defined as income from all sources.
All right, I got it now. Thank you.
Do you understand now? So it's not necessarily mean revenue. It means, okay, if you have rent, include it. If you have any form of revenue you get, provided it is non-taxable and it is not franked investment income, then it should be considered as a turnover for determining your minimum tax.
Thank you. It's clear
You're
now.
welcome. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Next person, we have Clement.
Okay,
Hello.
sir. Good evening, sir.
Hello. Good evening.
I have not called you.
Hello.
I've not. All right, Clement.
Okay, sir. So for this company income tax that we're charging 30%, say that we're charging it against total profit or accessible profit. 'Cause I don't understand why it's new there.
So what again? Sorry, what is our total profit? Zero. So
Yes.
anything multiplied by zero is zero.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
My
what we have
question
in it.
is, are we supposed to charge company income tax to accessible profit or total profits?
Total profit, tertiary education tax, accessible profit, company income tax, total profit.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma. I said this to me at the beginning of the class that we should stop using Mansa for ourselves. But no problem, I understand. Olajimoke,
Good evening, sir.
yeah, you see.
Good evening. Good evening. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, the requirement of the question states that we should write a report. Please, how are we going to go about the report writing? I mean, how are we going to structure the reports?
So your report is just supposed to include what you computed. So what informs your report is, are you a consultant or writing to a manager? If you're a consultant, you write on a letter or write a letter on your letterhead. If you're reporting to your manager, you write a memo to your manager. So with that said, it means that for this question, you're expected to write a letter. So for this one, you will explain the idea around, if I'm supposed to write, you will explain the idea around how you came about your accessible profit, how you computed your capital allowances and your total profit, and then you state your minimum tax and why you are selecting minimum tax ahead of the company income tax, the tertiary education tax, and your total tax liabilities. That's one. So the second part is what I will still answer, although I've answered it basically. The treatment of donations made by the company, I said that, the donation was made to fund established by the government, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
must not exceed 10% of the accessible profit. So that's what the examiner expects you to mention there. So you are expected to tell him the conditions for granting donation and then emphasize the fact that this guy donated to a fund established by the government and donation must be made out of profit and should not exceed 10% of the accessible profit. That's it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So although I've asked for permission, so I'm still going to extend my class a little bit more, a little bit more. So favor.
Sir?
Yeah, your hand is up.
Yeah, my hand is up. So I would want to ask, is it possible they write their question down, then one person just asks it? Because somebody was complaining that it's obvious we are going to solve just one question due to people are drawing us back and front, certain ends.
Yeah,
Then
that's
another person asks on the chat box that the what is it the what's the name after company income tax, the second one we did that 2.5%. The person was asking that is it not supposed to be 3%?
so
Yeah,
three
Pelumi
percent
asked that
started.
please your TET, is it supposed to be 3%? Is it not supposed to be 3%, not 2.5?
What informs your TET is the year of assessment, right? So beginning from 2024 year of assessment, it is 3%. For 2022 and 23 year of assessment, it is 2.5%. For 2021 downward, it was 2%. So what informs the rate is the year of assessment. And obviously we are computing for 22 year of assessment. And that's why we did 2.5%. Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. That's all from
So
my
that's
end.
it. Okay. Okay. So I think I've answered everybody. All right, I've answered everybody. Good.
Sorry, you've not answered
Sorry,
me.
you've not answered me. Oh. I've not asked my question though.
Okay, Yusuf.
Okay.
Yusuf, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so please I want to ask, when do we use investment allowance?
So investment allowance has been scrapped first of all. It has been
Yeah.
scrapped beginning from 2024 year of assessment, right? But you only apply your investment allowance on plant and machinery and plant and equipment in the first year as is purchased. But beginning from 2024, it has been scrapped, meaning that if you come across questions that has to do with 2024 year of assessment, you need not apply investment allowance. All right, Victor.
All right,
Sorry, sir. 2020 what, sir? I can't hear.
24 year of assessment.
Oh, okay, sir. So I was looking at the capital allowance.
Yeah.
I know that there's a formula you use, cost minus initial allowance all over a number of years. Is that what is applied here? Because I was trying to look at that angle and I seem not to get that.
Just multiply by the annual. Wait, for which, or is it for the new asset you're referring to?
Because the way you treated both the new and the old was somehow confusing, so I couldn't get it.
Confusing as in how? Just ask. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Okay. I know you're calculating the annual allowance for the initial
Yeah.
allowance. Okay. For the annual allowance, that is where I have challenge on.
I know it's the annual allowance, but then the question would be, what is the challenge, so that I can address. Are you?
What I know is that when you are calculating for the annual allowance, are we
Yeah.
using the same procedure for the new and the old assets?
No, they obviously they were acquired different years, so you can't apply the same procedure across board.
Okay. Please, can you
Don't
just
forget, don't forget that your annual allowance is on a straight line method,
yes.
right? So, um, so at this point in time, what you apply is straight line basis. So you would want to determine what is the remaining useful life of the assets. I'm sure you can determine that because I've explained that. So what I did basically for the industrial building and all of that for the existing assets were that I did the amount, because the amount here is the tax return value. So I did the tax return value divided by the remaining useful life.
Oh, okay.
While for the new asset, what I did is the cost minus initial allowance times the annual allowance rate.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Does it make sense now?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah. You're welcome. Chioma. Eileen is the last person I will be considering anyway. I think I've answered for Lashadi before.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Can you hear me? So,
I
sir,
can hear
please, I
you.
know you've mentioned this before. Can you just when we are told to write a report, can you like explain again? When are we to write a letter and a memo? When are we
So
to
you write a
yeah?
letter when you're writing to when you're writing as a consultant to another company. You write a memo if you're writing to somebody within your organization.
Okay, okay. And lastly, sir, about the TET, you said the year of assessment informs our TET. So I just got the 2021 down. We are to use 2%. About for other years?
2022, 2023 use 2.5%. 2024 use 3%.
Okay. About okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much.
What about 2025 is what you want to ask, Abby? All right. So that's that. I think I called how I called Tower before. She didn't answer. So that's fine.
Sorry,
Okay.
I wasn't available there by then. I have some things, so that's the reason why I cannot talk.
No. But you are using double gadgets, so you are echoing. You may want to go off on one, or you are two gadgets are close to each other. So it's giving us issue. You are echoing.
Okay.
Okay, it's better now. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I have the question now. You've not even answered me.
What's the question?
The loss relief that you've got in here,
Yes.
36,000. I said, how did you arrive at that?
So
Because I'm
we
trying.
so this is the amount here. Note 11 unabsorbed losses from previous year. Add them up together. You should have that figure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Another thing is about the non-industrial. This non-industrial that we got 900,000. How, where did we get it? Because it wasn't given. We are only given industrial building.
Eh?
The non-industrial item here
Please,
under
can you ask
capital allowance.
questions?
Okay, so now I somebody asked before and I've answered, but I'll answer again. Right. So I got it from the question, and the idea is
Okay.
this. Because the idea is this. It was from the construction of companies building gates. An industry has to
Okay.
do with something they use in production, but you cannot
Okay.
trace gates to producing, so it's non-industrial. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Okay. So that is where we picked it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. So, was. All right.
Wherever I
So
can talk.
this is what we want to do to make the class more coordinated going forward. Uh, Unfortunately, my network gave us issue at the beginning, but please going forward, you may because of given the population of the class, eh, just once you get into the class, we are likely going to mute everybody apart from two co-hosts, right? So if you have any question, just in time. So that two things that will do for us is to make you more attentive. So I won't have to repeat myself. So the co-host during the class, I'm going to set up a Q&A box for the call. So for the Q&A box, immediately if you have any gray area, I will activate it from the beginning, right? Then the host will help us to collect the questions. So that way, if we have two questions, the course will only ask it once. So to make most of the class, you have to be attentive all through. You have to be attentive all through so that you won't have to delay every other person, right, who have been attentive. Does it make sense? So what I'm saying in essence is this, so that you won't have similar issue on Sunday. So what you have to do for us is on Sunday, if I'm solving any question or questions and you have issues, I'm going to activate the Q and A box. We would have two volunteers as hosts. So once the Q&A box is going to be available on different from your chat room. So I'm going to activate it from the beginning. So immediately just go to the Q&A box, drop your question there. The course will only ask one of duplicated questions. So if we have two people asking same question, the course necessarily do not have to mention the name of the person, but we ask the question, right? So that way I'm going to be able to move fast. Imagine I'm only able to solve one question today, and it's like this. We've spent 2 hours arguably for this question. And in fact, I remember repeating myself about 4 or 5 times, which I understand that we don't understand at the same pace. I have to acknowledge that fact. But at the same time, it's a virtual class, and I understand many of us can be distracted, and that distraction should not hurt others. So please, I beg you, try to be attentive all through the session. It's a sacrifice that will span us for 3 weeks or thereabouts. By 19th, you are done with the exam. So if you've not been studying, it's a good time to start studying. I hope that's fine for everybody.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can we have the working sent to the group, please?
Yeah, sure. It belongs to you. All right. So I don't know. I can't even solve an additional question tonight. It's 11 already. So, but I'm sorry for my network. I have to apologize. It's not intentional, right? And number two, for those who were thrown out of the class, it's also not intentional. I was also thrown out. So please bear with me, right? So please, again, I repeat the modality for the class. If you join the class, anytime I'm solving, you will use the Q&A box, right, to ensure that you ask your question real time. So at each point at which I'm gathering the question at several intervals, possibly 25 minutes or 20-minute interval, the co-host will gather up the questions, ask them on your behalf. The recordings will be sent to you immediately after the class. So the co-host will gather the question. I'm saying it again because, although I'll repeat myself again in the next class anyway. All right. Thank you very much for coming. Apologies for the network failure. Thank
I've
you
been
very
raising my
much.
hand since, Mr. Michael, and you didn't even attend to me.
No, to be honest, you didn't raise your hand at the time I
Please,
was
oh.
checking the box. Possibly the hand was paining you, and then you put it down for a minute. And
How
like
can you be
Jesus, that
paying
was
me?
not. I like Jesus, that was the time I now checked, to be honest.
Please, I
So
want to ask this: if you have additional, for example, plant and equipment that has investment allowance,
allowance.
that is,
Okay.
if the question is before 2024, if you have additional plant and equipment, are you going to charge the investment allowance?
If you are you okay, if I get you correctly, what you're asking is that for your investment allowance, are you
Yes.
including that in your allowances or deducting it from the value of the asset? Is that what you're
Yes.
asking?
Yes. Treating it the same way as initial allowance in
Yeah.
plant and
So
that's
on capital allowance, right, you treat it the same way. meaning that you add it to your allowance. But please don't make the mistake of deducting it from the value of the asset. That's where the issue is. So you don't deduct it from the asset ultimately. Do you get it?
I don't understand.
So I'm saying that initial allowance is deducted from the value of the asset,
Yes.
but you don't deduct investment allowance from the value of the asset.
Okay. You
Does it
deduct it
make
from
sense?
where?
But you don't deduct it at all. You just add it to the capital allowance and move on.
Okay, you just add the. Okay, I
Yes.
understand.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Fola
Okay,
Shade.
Mr. Michael, sorry, suggestion, please.
Yeah.
A suggestion, please.
Listen patiently,
I
please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I I will suggest, Mr. Michael, that please, when you're doing a new topic, for us to also meet up to time, instead of you to start doing a kind of a recapping, it wouldn't be necessary. Just go as in just start just go straight to the point, do your new this thing topic instead of like for maybe next week on Sunday. Let's assume you're doing a new topic. Instead of you to start telling us about company tax again, I think there'll be no need. You just go straight point and straight ahead to do the new topic. It will also help.
Yeah, I understand. No problem.
So, please recap helps people. If she doesn't want recap,
Don't
that's
worry, don't worry, don't worry. I know, no
recap doesn't
problem, no
take like
problem.
in less than 5-10 minutes. You're done with recap.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. We'll find a way around it.
If she doesn't want recap, you
All
should
of us,
just wait after that.
no problem, no problem. All right. So, Fola Shadi, I hope I've answered. Fola Shadi is off. Rita Couture, I'm calling you
No,
again.
don't worry. I was having issue with the capital allowance, but don't worry. I'll find a way around it. Thank you.
You can you just message me after?
All right, no problem. Thank you. I will.
All right. Okay, Rita Couture. Rita Couture. Okay, so that's the end of our class for tonight. Thank you for coming. Please, our
Hello.
next class is on Sunday.
Good
Yeah, Chima.
Hello. Good evening. Good
Yeah,
evening.
good evening, Azan.
Good evening. Please,
Yeah,
my
Azan.
question is, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Please turn off your video.
Please, my question is based on company income tax. If you are giving three parameters, we have a dividend basis, we have turnover basis, and we are equally giving a accessible and adjusted profit. And the given the scenario where the adjusted profits, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, I can
We
hear
are
you.
given three parameters: dividend, adjusted profits, and turnover. And our adjusted profit is lesser than the other two parameters. Sir, in that case, what should we use to compute
So
our company income tax? Is it dividend or is it turnover
no, no,
or
no.
is it
So,
accessible profit?
three of them are different things entirely, if I get you correctly. So your turnover is used for minimum tax. Your dividend is used for dividend basis. Your CIT is used for normal as a total profit. So what you do is you compute the three and select the highest answer as your tax liability.
Tax, okay.
All right.
Okay, sir. But what is the main, is it the accessible profit that is more? Because when I saw the question, is it last diet, that's November 2024, the adjusted profit was lesser than the turnover. They gave us two parameters. and following their solution, they use accessible profit, whereas the turnover is higher than the
So
accessible
a-
and adjusted
again,
profit.
again, there are different rates applied. So remember that your turnover is 0.5%, while on your total profit you are using 30%. So obviously the answers are going to be different. And the rule still remains constant. Use the highest of the three answers. So it's not a function of which figure is higher on the face of it.
I thought
It's a
you applied the 30% too on the turnover.
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
we
So
only
that's
apply
on.
30% on.
So if you're applying 30% on turnover,
Hello, sir.
that's best of business assessment, and that's not for your level. So what you're referring to is the best of judgment assessment.
So, sir, is it that the 30% is only on adjusted profit? Hello?
So now the turnover is turnover basis, and that is only in the case of best of judgment. That's only in the case of best of judgment assessment, which is not really necessary at this point. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. So now there's something called best of judgment, where a company, where the tax authority, right, uses or apply the tax rate on the turnover using discretion, right? But that is 100% discretionary based. Does it make sense to you? So it doesn't matter
Yes.
what you have as the turnover. You still have to use, except where the examiner states clearly that you use turnover assessment. That's when you apply tax rate on the turnover assessment, and that is more or less like a best of judgment assessment, as the case may be. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's it. But either ways, always use your total profit, or accessible profit, as a basis for computing tax liability.
Even if the dividend is higher than the accessible profit.
Eh?
Hello? Even if the
So,
dividend is higher than the accessible profit, you should always use
so
accessible.
oh, no, I'm not sure you are getting my answer. I understand your question, but you are not getting my answer. My answer is compute the three and use the highest.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
understand? So, yes, use the highest,
Yeah.
because you'll be required to pay tax based on the highest of the three.
Okay.
So use the three and then compute the highest.
All right. All right, sir.
Oh,
Hello, sir.
thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
But
I can
if
hear you. Please go ahead.
the 30% only applies to the accessible total profit and dividend, and not turnover. A minimum too has its own percentage.
Yes, minimum
Turnover too
minimum is
has.
0.5. Turnover, like again, let me repeat, it is an estimation of turnover. So the tax authority applies it on an estimate, right? The tax authority applies on an
All
estimate.
right.
Do you understand? So the tax rate is also going to be the tax rate on the turnover, on the estimated turnover of the, but it's always in the case where the company does not have accessible profit, right? Or if the company does not have books at all. That's when
Yeah.
they use turnover assessment, if you remember. But for the
Oh.
what's the name? For the total profit, it is 30% on the profit, right? Or however, that is also dependent on the turnover, because you know the threshold. If you are above 25 million, is 20%. If you are within 25 and 100 million bracket, is 25%. If you are above 100 million, it is 30%. If you are less than 25 million, it is 0%. So that also plays a major role in determining what is going to be within the tax bracket.
All right, sir.
Do you get it?
So yes, sir. But in
Okay,
some
that's
computation, like the one they did, I think is 2020. I saw the question. They compose their company income on the basis of dividend simply
yes.
because the turnover, the total profit was lesser than the dividend.
Again, it's still simple. If you check the question
Yes.
very correctly, if you check it in a detailed way, you realize that they still even compute 30% on total profit, then compared it with 30% of dividend, and then they selected the higher of the two.
All right, sir.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry, sir. I'm so sorry for bringing
Please,
you
sir.
back. So my question is around the last part of what we solved, the tax payable. Can you share your screen to that part, the tax payable for just that side? I want to just get what you did there.
I didn't do any magic actually. Yeah, I'm with you.
Not, sir, not this side. The under the minimum tax part. uh So yeah. Okay, so we ended competition of. Okay, okay. So I wanted us to see if, okay. So this is where we finished, right? All right. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. All right, sir. Thank you.
All right. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Thanks a lot.
Sorry,
God
sir.
bless you, sir.
Please,
Ah.
Right.
please let us the recorded class and the workings, the solutions on the platform
Good
immediately
night.
so that people that want to look at it
Yes,
immediately can do that.
you have that immediately.
Did you get that?
Yeah, you have that immediately. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.